Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm back at the Koh Man Nai, that little island that is supposed to be walkable, and going to attempt it today. As you can see, the weather is not the best. It's a little bit of rain, but I still have a little bit of time. The low tide should be between 8 and 9 and it's about 7:45, so I have about 15 minutes. But if it's not stopped raining, I will just go across anyway. So I've been here before attempting the crossing once and I failed miserably at that time because I didn't do much research except just looking at what time is the low tide, and the water was just too high at that time. So I'm here again today after doing my homework. So how this works is this island is only walkable during the certain period of the year, and that means during the low season. So if you come here during the main season in January, February, you will not be able to walk to that island. You will have to take a kayak or canoe and paddle to it. So I am in the correct season, that's the first step, but there are a couple of more requirements that have to be met. The low tides changes every day. It's a little bit higher and lower on different days. So you need to find the days when the water is as low as possible. In this case, it should be about 0.7 meters or less, which is only during the certain months. And that's the May, June and July are the best months where the water is the lowest, which I already missed because it's already beginning of the September now. But I still found a few days that the water is about 0.8 meter, which is just 10 centimeters, 4 inches less than the recommended level. So I'm going to attempt to cross it, and I can tell you right away that the water is already a lot lower than when I've been here last time. Because last time it's been 1.7 meters and I got like water around my waist and the wave blew to me like that. So I failed that time, and today I can already tell you that I can see the sandbank being exposed, so this is a much better. And apart from all of that, you still have to find low tide during the daytime, because it's no use if it's like a low tide at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Because it will be dark, so you cannot really cross. So let's get going and see how far we can get. So yeah, this roughly 600-meter walk is not as straightforward as I originally thought. It takes a bit of careful planning to be here at the right time on the right day when the water is at its lowest. Apart from that, the walk itself is pretty simple. You start in front of the Sylvan Pool and head towards not the beach but the east tip of the island, or to the 2 smaller islands in the background. You can't just walk straight towards the sandy beach, you have to follow an L-shaped path instead. In the most optimal conditions, the entire sandbank would be exposed and you wouldn't even have to touch the water. But since I am a couple of weeks late for that, I will have to walk through the shallows instead. It feels a little strange, you keep walking forward, but the water never gets any deeper. I am already quite far. Eventually you are 300 meters away from the beach. Here is like that scene from the Interstellar on that planet covered in shallow water. And then out of nowhere there was this sandbank right in front of me. I made it to a little sandbank in the middle of the water. I think this is roughly about halfway there. From now on, the sand will end and I will be walking on a kind of like a dead coral, a little bit sharper rock, so I will have to be more careful. But yeah, the water is perfect. It was like just above my knees, so that's very walkable, because last time it was above my waist and the waves coming up and I was only like 200 meters from the beach, so this time I made it already much farther. Okay, so let's carry on because we don't really have that much time. The lowest tide is only for 1 hour. After that it starts getting a little bit higher. Finish the first part of the walk, just before reaching the dead coral, the water gets a little deeper by about 8 inches or 20 centimeters. That marks the end of the sandy stretch, roughly 300 meters in. Once you step onto that coral, you need to turn about 90 degrees and start walking toward the beach. This part is much more difficult to walk on as the dead coral surface is very uneven and it's hard to see exactly where you are stepping.
which make it even harder to keep your balance and not to fall. The key here is not to rush and to keep your eyes peeled for where you place your feet. The coral is mostly dead, but you can still spot bits of life here and there. And there are some sharp rocks which you absolutely don't want to facepalm into.
I'm almost there. The progress is going very slow now because the dead corals, a lot of rocks, and now as I'm getting close to the island I see lots of sea urchins everywhere, so I need to be really careful not to step on anything. But almost there. Even the rain stopped now. Still a little bit dripping. Oh. Yeah, but the water is not very deep. As you can see, it's only about 1 feet. But I have to be very careful where I step. So yeah, the second half is probably taking twice as long as the sandbar. Alright, let's get there because we don't have that much time. Alright guys, I made it all the way. It took about 40 minutes to cross. I would say about 10 minutes the soft bank and half an hour the rocks. And yeah, it's about 8:35 right now. And from 9 o'clock the water should already be higher by 4 inches, 10 centimeters. So I cannot linger here for too long, otherwise I will be stuck. But yeah, it was pretty fine even in September. Like the water was around my knees, a little bit above my knees was the deepest point. But you cannot walk straight to the island, you have to go a little bit around the corner. So yeah, I'm gonna have a little walk in here and we'll start heading back. So yeah, that was the Koh Man Nai in early September by foot.
I walked the beach from one end to the other and it was very lovely stretch of sand, but of course it needs some sunshine to truly shine, which sadly I didn't have today. But if I'd waited any longer I would probably have missed the chance to walk to it entirely, and the weather was expected to stay bad for the rest of the month anyway, so I'm glad I did the walk today. At the northern end of the beach were even some mangroves, and as I was passing by, the sky was starting to look like it might rain again. Luckily it held off and didn't open up fully, so I had a bit of time to enjoy the island, at least for a little while.
And I did peek inside the jungle in here, and there seems to be a little path that could be explored, but I really don't have time today for that adventure. So that one will have to wait for another time, because I have to go back now before 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's a little bit overgrown, but you can clearly see some path in here that leads maybe on the other side of the island. There is still about 5 or 6 more islands next to this one, so I will have to come back by the kayak anyway. So we can then check the other side of the Koh Man Nai. So that's it from Koh Man Nai, guys, and I will see you in the next one.